Welcome to the Seniors Rock Show, presented by the Law Office of Michael Robinson, PC, on News Radio, Wham 1180. The Seniors Rock Show, a lively weekly discussion shedding a bright light on aging with fun, entertainment, and important info for all adults. Join in with your comments or questions. Call or text 222-1180 or 1-800-295-1180. Now from the News Radio Wham 1180 studio in downtown Rochester, here's your host, Joanna Palvino.
Hi, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Joanna, and I say us because I am here with attorney Michael Robinson, and he's my co-host, and estate planning and elder law is his specialty. And I'm just thinking about the week because this is where we usually catch up, Mike and I, before we get into the show. And for me anyway, Mike, it's been a roller coaster kind of week. And I had a couple of big scares and a couple of friends have been sick. And I know a lot of other people are dealing with this. So I thought I'd bring it up. We try to be positive, but boy, this stuff is really unsettling, if you will. And one of my friends has very painful pinched nerves, and another is still in the hospital because of COVID-19 and pneumonia. She's out in California, but the good news is we heard this morning she is on the mend, getting better every day. So I'm so excited about that. But boy, was this scary stuff. And I felt firsthand the real pain of being apart. I haven't had that happen in this past year, and I've been very fortunate, but boy, did I feel it. And I haven't had a cry like that in a while, and I did let those tears flow, and the prayers too. And the only word that comes to mind when I think about how I was feeling is helpless. So my heart goes out to everybody who's dealing with things like this. But on an up note, I wanted to say, I have my old partner in crime she's the one with the pinched nerves, and she's been joking about turning 60 soon, and the poor thing's been on having some problems with her back for some time with these pinched nerves. And she said that if she'd known that it was going to be like this when she, got closer to 60, she would have followed the rules a little more. And hello, newsflash, Ellen. Honey, you never followed the rules. So happy birthday to you, my friend. It's 60. Say it loud, say it proud. No worries. You're going to get better, and we'll have some fun ahead. So, but, I was thinking, who did follow the rules? How do we get some rules in this crazy stuff that we're dealing with? And I read an article about Queen Elizabeth II, and I know a lot of my friends are into some of this royal stuff on Netflix and on television, because I guess it's just a good diversion. And so later in the show, we're going to discuss life lessons from Queen Elizabeth, and that is worth listening to, I think, and it's very relatable, if you will, to today. And the Queen is 94 years old, so we'll take her wisdom anytime. So Mike, you're out there, and I know you are, and we're remote, so we're not together, but you're certainly aware that lives can change in minutes when families deal with these unexpected things. And what you do, in fact, is make sure, I think, that families are always prepared for the unexpected, right? Is that right?
That is true, and happy snowy Saturday. And it's interesting that you bring this up, because just yesterday I was reading a blog from a woman who had three friends recently lose their parents, and in each case the family was not only dealing with tremendous sadness, but also tremendous pain and frustration because the parents hadn't planned properly. And so in her blog, she was urging her readers to get their planning done now and save their family that kind of heartache. And that's actually a perfect segue into this week's Myths of Estate Planning. And this week's myth is, well, I'll have time to get my planning done later. But the truth is, maybe not. And Joanna, as you've heard me say many times, the number one reason most people don't have proper estate planning is procrastination.
Oh, yeah.
But as Pablo Picasso said, only put off until tomorrow what you are willing to die having left undone, because at some point tomorrow never comes. And we have worked with so many families over the years whose loved ones kept putting off their planning with the idea they'd have enough time to get it done at some point, and then the inevitable happens and it's too late. And in every one of those instances, not only were those families grieving the loss of their loved one, they also were dealing with the emotions of frustration, fear, and even anger at the person who had died or become incapacitated because of the mess they were left to deal with. And of course, in this COVID environment, it becomes even more of an issue. So, at our firms, one of the things we try to emphasize to people is that estate planning really is an act of love. It's not just some financial or legal exercise. It's about providing for the people we love and minimizing their burden at what will be a very difficult time. And that's why with our educational webinars, those are designed not only to provide important information to the community, but also to inspire folks to take action on what is really a very important matter.
Well said. And, these are this stuff is so important. And I like how you say it's an act of love because it really is, because who needs to deal with paperwork and these types of things when they are dealing with other things in their lives, and we all are. So, speaking of webinar, I think you have one coming up. Is it this Friday, the 3rd?
It is actually, I told you it was Friday the 3rd, but no, it's Wednesday the 3rd. That's
Oh,
my bad.
yeah, we get to be a little bit goofed up. It's Saturday, right?
Indeed. So, but yes, this coming Wednesday, and people can register online at mrobinsonlaw.com. They can also call the office 374-5210. The webinars are free. There's no obligation of any sort. But as I say, a lot of good information. And for many people, it does serve as an inspiration to get into action.
Excellent. And, folks, we are live. So if you have a question for Mike, give us a call. It's 585 222 1180. And he is here, and he has a lot of knowledge. He is an estate planning and elder law attorney, as I said, but I didn't mention that he's a charter member of the American Academy of Estate Planning Attorneys. That tells you right there, folks, that he's very caring and knowledgeable. So give us this jingle if you have a question. Pam will answer the phone. And if you don't want to talk on the air, you can just tell Pam what the question is, and she'll shoot it over to us on this chat box that we're using. So everything is virtual now. And I know after the break, we're going to be joined later after the next segment. Jeff Flaherty is going to be here, and he has some info on some interesting virtual things that he's doing too for home assessments. It's kind of interesting, really. Everything is going virtual, and we're getting more comfortable, I think, with it. But I think it's funny too that I see now that people are kind of going the other way, and they're saying, I don't really like sitting there watching all these people's faces in a meeting. And people are getting creative about that, and putting up their logos or other pictures or things that represent their companies. So it's kind of fun to watch this morphing, right? Have you
It
noticed
really
that?
is. It's interesting too how quickly everyone got comfortable with this technology.
Yeah,
It wasn't that long ago where, at least for the folks that we work with, this would not have been something that anyone would have wanted to do.
right.
But very quickly, folks adapted, and in fact, in many instances, they now prefer working this way. It's more comfortable. They don't have to get out and drive in bad weather. So it has been interesting.
If anyone had told me that I would be doing a radio show from my basement in my slippers, I would have said, "You are crazy." But here we are.
Yep.
And, we'll keep doing this because we want to stay safe. And again, our hearts and thoughts are out in the community with the folks who are dealing with their loved ones and friends being incapacitated. And, it is always a shock. And again, I dealt with it this week. I love my friends and my family, and it's really an eye opener when it starts to hit home, and it's getting closer all the time. So people, please be safe. Wear the masks. You've heard it a million times, but you can't be more careful. And do the webinars, do these things to learn and to keep growing while you're home. And that's what you can do with Mike if you want to learn about estate planning. And what else do you talk about in that webinar?
We really just go through all of the different issues that present themselves for families when there's an incapacity or a death. And so many of these, one reason people don't plan, in addition to procrastination, it's just confusing and they don't even recognize what issues there may be. So that's that is so important educational component that we want to bring to folks.
Right. And you can't just, you don't go to one webinar and know it all, but you go to the webinar and then you say, okay, Mike, I understand now that, it's important to stay on top of these things, but also important to stay on top of the changes. And that's your job. So I think that's so important because, I worry a lot that things that I've done over the years may, now be outdated, if you will. And
Correct.
especially as we get older. So, but speaking about getting older, I'm excited in the next segment here today. We're going to talk about Queen Elizabeth II. And I feel like I should curtsy when I say that because I love the royals and I love to get away and watch all this crazy stuff. My brother thinks I'm nuts, but I know a lot of my friends who also enjoy it. And there's some great stuff on TV now and some great actual footage too. I mean, how can you not want to watch? You know, uh, Queen Elizabeth when she was young and taking over the crown, when she didn't expect to, right?
Yeah.
And so we're gonna talk about some things that I read about, 10 rules that she still follows to this day. And this is something I read about by an author of a new book called Long Live the Queen. So stay tuned for that. We're gonna have some fun. And you're listening to the Seniors Rock Show on Wham 1180.
For over 34 years, the Law Office of Michael Robinson, PC, has helped families protect their hard-earned wealth from nursing home expense, probate, and taxes. Visit us online to register for our free educational webinar to learn how you can protect you and your family. mrobinsonlaw.com.
Thanks for joining us. I'm attorney Michael Robinson here with host Joanna Palvino. And it is nice to see the sun after a few days of gray, snowy weather. And I love the snow, but I love to see the sun after the snow. And Pam, I understand we have a caller on the line. It's Dawn, is that right?
Hi, Joanna and Mike. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Mike, I was just wondering, my parents are 82 and 92. They have their funerals and burial all paid for. Everything's in order. Their home is paid for and their land. In the will, they're leaving their home and their land to my son, who's 22 right now. Someday, God forbid, when the occasion comes, they have about $17,000 in debt, which they're paying off. But if there's any of that left when they pass away, how does that work with their home and my son? Does he have to take out like a loan to pay off their debt, or?
Gotcha. Yeah, thank you, Dawn. That's a good question and one actually we hear fairly often. So generally speaking, your son is not going to be personally liable for their debts, unless it was something he co-signed on, or somehow was involved in actually assuming the debt.
No, he was
However,
not.
your parents' estate will be liable for any legitimate outstanding debts, and that would be paid out of their estate assets. And it's possible that some of that debt could attach to the home at their passing, which would require your son to somehow deal with that. One option is there's other ways of passing that home at their death other than through a will, and what might or might not be appropriate. I don't know without some further conversation, but certainly if that is a concern, there are some things that your folks can do now so that your son would not be saddled with any of that debt.
Okay, great. So speak to our attorney. We have an attorney. The only thing is they get a very big tax cut because he was in the service and they're older. So I'm thinking you're talking about putting the house in his name now, but they get such a tax cut because of their age.
And that's a great point. And no, I'm not necessarily suggesting that, but definitely talk to your attorney, because there are ways to be able to pass the property out without your folks losing any of those important exemptions.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your answering my question. I really appreciate both of you every week.
Thank you for calling, Dawn.
Yes, and thanks for listening. Have a wonderful weekend.
And there
And
was
then
also another caller, Mike, that didn't want to talk to us in person, but did you get that one?
I did, yeah, and it was someone had a question that they said, they don't want their home to be lost if they have to go into a nursing home. They said they have a will, a power of attorney, that everything is taken care of, and so they want to make sure that the house would not be taken from them. And this is a fabulous question because so many people think as long as they've got the will, the power of attorney, that's going to protect their home from a nursing home. And that is absolutely untrue. The will
Tell
and
us
the
the
power,
truth.
yeah, the power of attorney and the will are going to do nothing to protect the home. So if that's a concern, again, the good news is there is planning that can be done to provide that kind of protection. But the simple will, the power of attorney, unfortunately, is not going to do it. Again, the webinar is a great place to get that information. Definitely call, happy to talk to you about that. But again, no obligation, a lot of good information, and you will in fact learn how to protect the home from the nursing home expense. So thank you again. It's a fabulous question.
Wow, that's great. And thank you for calling, folks. You can do that anytime. We're live. We do have, some guests on, so we do give them some time, but we always want to know what your questions are. And if we can't get to them during the show, Mike will get back to you. There's no obligation at all. And we've got great questions. And I know if one or two people have a question, then I'm certain that there are plenty of other folks out there that are asking the same thing or maybe thinking about those things. So we try to super serve people who are getting older, and there are a lot of us. In fact, I think we're all getting older, right, Mike?
That's the idea.
And as I mentioned earlier, the Queen is, she's 94, but she's still rocking. And she is she's the world's longest reigning monarch. And as I said earlier, she follows 10 rules. And I wanted to see if we could talk about those because I think they're so relevant today. What did you think?
I was looking over the list, and everything that was written about her is borne out by science and research, and it's interesting to see how she's using these tools.
Yeah, and this is someone who was mentored by Churchill, right? I mean, that's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if she didn't, follow a rule, she got some good ones from other people. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about some of these things. And folks, if you want to, call and kick in with something that you do that maybe is similar to what the Royals do. For example, the first one is recharge your willpower. And the Queen does that every day. She recharges when she rests for some quiet time at tea time. And she has some Earl Grey and maybe something sugary, which sounds great. And they have those fancy little trays. And that is how she recharges her willpower. That's kind of hard to say. And she also sticks to a schedule, which I always find is very comforting, even though, the Joanna inside of me is always trying to kick back and do something else. I do know when I stick to a schedule that helps. And the Queen does that too. And I guess she writes in a journal at the end of the day, which I thought was cool because it's very popular again. And now, they talk about how it calms your mind and it's good for stressful times. So, hello, that would be now, right?
Absolutely. And we'll have a little bit more of that, I think, when we come back from the break.
Sounds good.
Do what you love, will help you get there. Genesee Valley Physical Therapy.
Hi, I'm Dan Geen, physical therapist and owner of Genesee Valley Physical Therapy. And daily, I'm so humbled by the great reviews we get from our patients, like this one.
I'm John. I'm a professional firefighter, a scuba diver, a musician, and a granddad. Firefighters are industrial athletes, and over my 26 years at it, I've had opportunity to injure myself a lot. I really can't say thank you enough to Genesee Valley Physical Therapy for making sure I can get out there and keep living life.
Thanks for the great review, John. And folks, please remember, you don't need a referral to see us, and we adhere to strict CDC guidelines and even offer telehealth visits if you prefer. Call us or visit GeneseeValleyPT.com today. There's a convenient location location near you, including our newest location in Pittsford at the Bushnell Basin Office Building.
Do what you love, we'll help you get there. Genesee Valley Physical Therapy.
And the timbers up in Mario, the wolves are running round. The winter was
Hello and
so
welcome back to the Seniors Rock Show. And I think that was Mike's Grateful Dead tune for the day. And he sneaks those in all the time. You know, he's a Deadhead and he's a lot of fun as well as being very knowledgeable. So thank you for helping out those callers today. That was more important than the Queen Elizabeth II life lessons. But we'll go back to that later, so don't go away. Today we have on the phone right now, I'm excited that we have Jeff Flaherty back. He is the founder of Wise Home Energy, and he's been on the Seniors Rock Show before. He helps us to know what to do if we're cold in our homes. So welcome back, Jeff.
Hi, Joanna. Thanks for having me on.
Well, I'm so happy to hear from you, and I know you've been super busy lately. This is your kind of weather, right?
It is something about the cold weather. You know, I'm lucky to be in a warm home, but I know some people out there are cold in their home. So the phone starts to ring with questions about how to improve the comfort in their home.
Now, I like that new campaign. If you're cold in your home, pick up the phone, because it makes sense. That is how I found you, and you have impressed me with every conversation and your knowledge. In fact, Jeff, he won't tell you this, but he is actually Contractor of the Year, and that's a national award by NYSERDA and the Energy Star Award for 2020 and 2021 for sustained excellence. So he knows his stuff, and he's right here in Rochester. So I guess I'm going to turn it over to you, Jeff. I do want to know about this new virtual thing you're offering, but I guess we'll start with what's the most important thing to do if you're ready to buy windows or a furnace or upgrade insulation, you just don't know what to do first?
Well, it is definitely an assessment. You want to know what's going on with the home. I have really been fielding some calls recently of people that have called and said, I just got my furnace and I just got my windows done, and now I want to check out what's going on with my home. And that is what we used to call in computer lingo a syntax error. We've got the order in reverse. We want to find out what's going on in the home first by doing a whole house diagnostics, then prescribing the plan to improve the home, improve the comfort in the home. So I do have some exciting news, Joanna, on the virtual assessment. NYSERDA has chosen Wise Home Energy to participate in that no-cost virtual home assessment. So no one comes to your home.
No cost?
Yeah, it's no cost. No one comes to your home. It's all done remotely. Wise Home Energy has decided to sweeten the offer by giving a $10 Amazon gift card for participation in the remote assessment. So it's no cost,
Very nice.
and we pay you $10. So hard to find a better deal than that.
Yeah. And how do they do that? Just tell people probably have their pens in hand. Tell them real quick, and we'll tell them again at the end of the interview. What's the number?
They call or text 270-5836.
Okay, great. Now, so go ahead and for example, I'd say someone just replaced their furnace and now they're cold. What do you do? What do you tell them?
Well, hopefully the furnace was sized properly and it's some other condition in the home. So that can be an insulation or air sealing problem that's going on. So that diagnostic, it's still worth having that, even if you have replaced your furnace. I liken it to, Joanna, recently I had a bout of dizziness, and I called up my doctor, and we had a telemedicine visit. And the doctor said, well, it sounds like you have vertigo. And I started arguing my beliefs and said, but my family history is this, and the internet says that, and blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? The doctor was right, and I knew my symptoms, but the doctor knew the cure.
Aha.
So
there you have it. That's
important.
right. Everybody can find their symptoms online, but knowing what the right thing to do is that's really the important part.
Right, exactly.
And, we're talking about these home assessments, and I'm going to say real quick for folks who haven't heard you with us before that there's a couple of things that you do. One is a blower door test, and I know I've learned that it tests your home for air tightness. And then you've also got an air quality test, which I think is cool, especially now when we're all home, and that measures levels of contaminants, right, that affect your home's air and the quality of the air too. So dust, pet dander for those pet lovers out there, and of course that awful carbon dioxide that we do not want in the house. So how do you prepare for a home energy assessment, Jeff? How do you do that?
Well, the big thing is to really make a list of concerns that you have in the home. Once you're having the expert in your home, now is the time to really show that person around the home where show him or her where you're cold or warm, if there's mold or moisture concerns in the home. What do you want to feel like tomorrow? What do you want different tomorrow and in 5 years? How do you want your home to perform for you? It's generally our biggest investment. The home should be a place of comfort. So making the list of what you want your home to be, comfort and health and durability-wise is the biggest thing you can do.
Right, or the concerns. Like I told you, we had that cold closet that I was worried was haunted or something. But but you explained that to me, and I think if folks aren't ready to make a call yet, is there anything they can do? One of those do-it-yourself kind of things. Is there anything that a homeowner can do, Jeff, to make their home more comfortable before they call you?
Sure, absolutely. A lot of times just windows alone. If the sun is aiming in the window in the wintertime, let that sun in to heat up that space. And then if that room is cold, when the sun's not coming in, close at least the blind if you have more of a thermal curtain, because that window will be colder and it'll make you feel colder. You can also adjust furnace dampers. If you have rooms that are different temperatures, you might be able to just go down and examine where the duct is flowing heat to and damper that down to divert it more into a cold room. So those are some quick do-it-yourself things that you can help to improve the comfort in your home.
Excellent. And if you didn't write that down, call Jeff or go on wisehomeenergy.com. But Jeff, boy, I wish I know one time you gave away one of these assessments. That was really cool. And you actually connected with an old friend when we did that, didn't you?
Absolutely, we did. Yes. Let's do it again. That blower door test is so critical. It's nice to get it out there, and normally we charge.
Can we do it right now? Can we do it right now? Because we have about a minute left.
Let's do it.
Absolutely. All right, folks, you heard him. He's going to give it away. So if you are out there, the third caller that calls right now and says, I'm cold in my house or home, cold in my home, will get one of these, either a no-cost blower test or a 30-minute indoor air quality test. And, there's the no-cost blower test, but get at the top there and get your information to Jeff, and you can be getting the gift card too. Maybe he'll bonus you for being a winner. Anyway, this is awesome. Call us 222-1180. Third caller that says I'm cold in my home. Pam, take their info. We'll announce it in the next segment. And right now, I'd like Jeff, anything else that I didn't ask you that we should say real quick while those phones start to ring?
No, I just say don't be cold in your home. Pick up the phone. Call 270-5836 today.
I love it. You're sounding like one of those smart attorneys right now. I'm kidding. No, you don't need to be an attorney to call or to know that Jeff knows this stuff. Believe me. And I've experienced his knowledge, and he's a great guy. He's a fun guy. So call 270-5836 from wherever you are and connect with Jeff and his team. We'll be right back on the Seniors Rock Show on WHAM 1180. Don't go away.
In these uncertain times, we're all concerned with protecting our family's legacy and hard-earned assets from nursing home costs, unnecessary taxes, and the expense and delay of probate. At the Law Office of Michael Robinson, P.C., we've spent over 34 years helping families just like yours preserve their wealth and leave a lasting legacy for those they love. Register for a free educational webinar to learn how you can protect you and your family. mrobinsonlaw.com. That's mrobinsonlaw.
Or Business of the Week this week is Senior Care Authority. and that is a senior living placement and consultation business. And here to tell us more about it is Dave Shands. He's the co-owner and he's the vice president of the company. And I'd like to say now, welcome, Dave.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Dave Shands, and I'm here to tell you about Senior Care Authority. We're a full-service senior placement agency. We help seniors and their families who need to transition a loved one to some form of senior housing. We work with independent living, assisted living, and memory care communities in Monroe and all surrounding counties. Our expertise is finding safe, affordable senior living solutions for families. We've helped more than 500 families since 2017. Our local experts are both certified senior advisors and certified dementia practitioners who understand the complicated world of senior living options and terminology. There's usually no cost for Senior Care Authority to help your family find placement. The communities we work with will pay our fees on your behalf. We work with more than 50 communities in the greater Rochester area and can help you understand what the differences are between all these communities. We can provide you community care needs, personal preferences, and budget. We'll help you with current information on pricing, amenities, financial requirements, New York State safety and inspection data, and much more for all area communities. Senior Care Authority also provides nursing home placements, family care consulting, and remote family support, as well as helping with concerns about senior driving safety. These services have a cost, but there's never a charge for an initial consultation. Call us. If you have a senior in need, the call is free and there's no obligation. Best way to reach us is at 585-666-3040. Again, that's 585-666-3040. You can find out more at seniorcare-rochester.com. That's seniorcare-rochester.com. Stay safe, stay well, and stay warm. Thank you.
And thank you, Dave Shands and Senior Care Authority, for your work in support of area adults and for being a member of GRAPE. And of course, you can always learn more about GRAPE at grapeelder.org. And I can tell you that Dave and his company have helped a number of our clients with exactly these issues. And Dave, we've been very grateful for that. It's always been a good experience for the client and a good result. So thanks so much for all that you do.
He did an excellent job. Thank you, Dave Shands. And again, he is with Senior Care Authority, and there is a very nice endorsement from Michael Robinson, from the Michael Robinson Law Firm. And I wanted to go back to Wise Home Energy and the giveaway today. We do have a winner. So please stop calling. We're getting a lot of calls. That's very nice. But first of all, I wanted to say to Linda Drummery from Hilton, congratulations. I'm so sorry that you're cold in your home, but I'm glad that you called. So you will hear from Jeff Flaherty and Wise Home Energy very soon. And again, congrats and thanks for listening to the show. So Mike, guess what? We're getting close to closing already. Again, this hour goes by so quickly.
Boy, it really does.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk a little more about the Queen and some of her life lessons, but I also wanted to mention that folks come back next week because we always have interesting people on the show, and next week is no different. We have Patty Singer coming in. You might have heard her name before. She used to be a health reporter for the DNC, and her name sounds familiar if you are a reader because she has been a reporter for years. But I bet you didn't know she's also a certified personal trainer and a wellness coach. So I'm looking forward to talking to her next week. She'll be our guest. Anything you wanted to say in closing here before we, besides the Queen's information?
It just,
King Michael.
Yeah, just again, be safe. I guess I do have to give some kind of recap on the Bills. It was a disappointing end to the season on Sunday evening, but after a few days, I was able to reflect and say, yes, we had a good year, and we'll hope for even a better result next year.
Well, I think that is a very nice thing to say. I wasn't going to bring it up. I was a little nervous about it, but thank you. You're such a very nice sportsmanship, as they say.
Yeah, the team at the office didn't bring it up for a couple of days either. So
the tear stains are gone. I can see.
Exactly.
Anyway, you enjoy the sun today. And, I wanted to bring up, I think we got another minute or two, but let's go back to some of these things that we can maybe apply today that are life lessons from Queen Elizabeth. And I picked out a couple that I love, and one of them is never stop playing because Elizabeth has been doing that since she was a child, and she used to have horses. Of course, she had quite an upbringing, as you can imagine. And of course, she had those corgi dogs. I think she corgi dogs. She had about 9 of them, I think, at one time. And she believes that playing is important, and I do too, because it has a unique ability to suspend your brain, and it actually puts you in a youthful, flexible state. So play with the kids, play around yourself, just have fun. Go out and make a snowman. In fact, I heard one of the senior grape organizations, one of the senior living places, is having a snowman building contest. So I thought that was really fun.
That does sound fun. Stay
Yeah.
warm.
Yeah, but today may be a little too cold. But we have lots of things that we can take from history to apply to today. But stay safe, folks, like Mike said. And don't ever forget that the crowning years are here, and the happiest people tend to be those who are in their 80s and beyond. So hang in there. Don't forget, seniors rock.